thing, or the very thing that we celebrate as compassion, is one of the reasons why poverty still exists. Are we really making a difference? Or are we just sustaining survival? Now, before you answer, let me just be clear. Compassion matters. Generosity matters. Charity matters. When disasters strike, when families are hungry, and when communities are in crisis, we come together and we help. And that is one of the best qualities we have as human beings. I've dedicated much of my time and career to serving communities, and I've witnessed some of the most extraordinary acts of kindness from community leaders, organizations, individuals, volunteers, and businesses. And they really want to make a difference in our community. But over time, I've realized that I've become challenged with my own thinking of how we give to charity. Perhaps we should then look at how generosity is executed, how we give, and what that does to charity. Recently, I completed a project at an early childhood development center, and the center was the classrooms were repainted, the playground was fixed, it was repaired, and then someone included a very small detail, and that was a racetrack around the jungle gym. So I thought nothing of it. I thought, okay, this has no significance, until the children came out to play. And one little boy caught my attention, and his name was Lita. So this young chap jumped into his tiny pedal car and raced around this painted track. He gripped that steering wheel with determination and raced around that track as if he was leading the final lap in a Grand Prix. And he raced past me and punched his hand in the air and shouted, "Lewis Hamilton!" And like you, everyone laughed, everyone cheered. And I stood there because I couldn't laugh. Because what I saw was not a child playing, but I saw imagination come alive. I went to his teacher and I said, "So does he always do this?" And she said, "No. But today he believes he can be anything." Now that knocked the wind out of my sails. It was one of those gut punches. Because then I understood what was happening here. Because remember, poverty doesn't come in the form of empty stomachs. It doesn't come in the form of broken buildings or limited resources. Poverty steals possibilities. I'll repeat that again. Poverty steals possibilities. It convinces little children that their dreams belong to someone else. And at that moment, in that moment, at that very time, young Lita had been thinking totally different, not even aware of his circumstances. But he was Lewis Hamilton at that time. So when we measure generosity, we look at how much food, how many meals were served, how much funds were raised, how many buildings were painted. We look at that and yes, they're important. They really matter. But what really matters is not how much we give, but what the possibilities are when we gave. That is the difference. Because unlike you and me, Lita saw an opportunity to imagine and was given the permission to imagine some dream, some future beyond these circumstances. And that is when I understood what charity was all about. Imagine if there was no food bank. Imagine if shelters no longer existed. Imagine that. Imagine where charities no longer were necessary. Because when you can imagine that, then you understand what charity is and rethink how you give. I won't remember how many liters of paint we used. I can't even remember how much money we spent. What I do remember is a young child named Lita getting the experience to understand a future beyond his circumstances. And he was given an opportunity to believe that for one moment, racing around that track, he was Lewis Hamilton. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what charity is all about. So next time, understand, when you give, don't look at what you give now, but understand what the possibilities are with what you gave. Thank you very much.